once this power was discovered and funded to the tune of billions, as it has been,
I think it's
we have this foreign policy
hundreds of
establishment that
billions.
manages the American empire that saw internet censorship as kind of an El Dorado key to permanently winning the soft power influence game around the world. And what I mean by that is, okay, so you know how in a lot of people talk about the early CIA activity in the media with things like Operation Mockingbird and whatnot, and the ability to sort of
So I'm not able to
propagandize
check
things in the
charts
media.
for
Well,
the moment. I
you
don't know if
never had
even
this
people are
capacity in
watching.
the
I'm just
1950s
going
while that was
blind for
going
now.
on. If you and I were at dinner, Thanksgiving or something, and there's 12 people at the table, and I start talking to you about, I don't know, the COVID vaccines may have adverse side effects. There's never an ability to simply reach under the table as an intelligence agency or as the Department of Homeland Security or as the Pentagon or the State Department and just turn off the volume when we talk to each other peer to peer. But since
now our phones,
the lion's share of all communication is digital, especially the politically impactful ones, that capacity now allows our blob, our foreign policy establishment, to effectively control every election, or at least tilt every election around the world. And they've sprawled this into 140 countries. And Trump is going to run into every single regional desk at the State Department.
So just remember, this is 2 months ago. So currently, it seems easier to dismantle than I think he thought. That's my assessment. I don't know just the extent yet, but I want to give it a month or so to see exactly whether all these NGOs still have that pool. You can see all their rubbish on media still. That a month or two should give a good indication of how fight has gone.
Single equity at the Pentagon arguing that if you do not allow us to continue this censorship work, it will undermine national security because it will allow Russian favored narratives to win the day in the Ivory Coast, in Chad, in Niger, and Brazil, and Venezuela, and Central and Eastern Europe. You're going to.
So that is the power play. That is the lie that is told so that people are on edge. Oh, Russia disinformation. Hey, we need this. That's the panic. They're always trying to put people in a panic so that you can coalesce to what they want. That is
have
the general
the State Department argue
strategy.
that if we don't have this counter misinformation capacity, then extremists will win elections around the world, or populists will win the election around the world, and that will undermine.
And the thing is, they're the ones who label something extremist. So they'd come, even if you just they say, oh, you're an extreme right winger or extreme. They rarely say left winger because they're woke, leftists. So they always say extreme this or what this or the extreme what. So they use that term a lot to try and scare people into to submit, basically. Okay, we'll take care of you, don't worry. This bad misinformation from Russia, you shouldn't hear it. Don't hear what Russia is saying.
In the power of our democratic institutions, essentially our programming, our assets in the region, and they've built this enormous capacity. We use it because it works, because it wins.
Yeah.
And the fact is Trump probably only won this election because, for the same reason, he probably only won the 2016 election, which was, in both cases, there was largely a free internet. It was when Trump got censored into oblivion in 2020 by the U.S. government under his nose, working with webs of outside NGOs and Pentagon front groups to mass censor virtually every narrative that he was putting out. That
you remember, he was kicked off Twitter at the time, Facebook, Instagram. Basically, like the president of America was kicked off. I think they were just flexing to show, to see what we can do. So where he mentions NGO, if you don't know, like for example, when Facebook was hiring its fact checkers, they worked with organizations, you see, and those organizations, they receive money from USAID there and Facebook, that's how they do. Then those organizations, because they are ideologically inclined towards the left, for example, They're the ones now who censor. That's why you realize there are so many words that normal words are being censored. You say it, you're throttled and whatnot. So that is part of that process.
That he lost. So it does work to win elections.
Yeah, so they cancelled him on all social media, couldn't communicate, started truth. He could, although I have to be honest with you, because a lot of this, I mean, also they made it almost a crime to say, like, oh, that election was fishy. That the US 2020 election reminded me of our elections over here. Oh my God, it was so, like, there were so many weird things going on, but because now they say, no, you can't say, can you accept that? Trump has never, he said, no. I think he's, in this time, he'll try and find out exactly what happened. And I'm just going to go on a limb and say, I don't know if we'll ever know, but I know that there were a lot of fake votes in that election. Which, in fact, because I'm looking at Biden, they're saying he was more popular than Obama. How? And even he got like some 10 million votes over something that were never in this last election. Then they're trying to explain it away, or people didn't come or what. But, see, you know how it's done. It's just that the Americans always, the Europeans always think that things are so safe. That's like, it's so easy to steal elections. Right now, like in states like California, whatnot, you don't need to show your ID. In fact, if you ask somebody for your ID, for the ID, it's like you can be taken to court, but. So what does that say? Like if somebody is coming to vote, you've let in millions of people as immigrants illegally, and then you say that you shouldn't ask for an ID. I mean.
And every
hiyo ndio kitu your Kasongo wants to do here, by the way. Just go around. It's happening. It's happening right now. He's even saying it because he's a bit of a dundum. I mean, I can't believe you guys voted for this guy.
There's a regional desk at the State Department covering every country on Earth. Victoria Nuland, had a desk that covered about 20 countries.
Every country.
So every country, the State Department is a preferred winner of that election. We work with all political parties. And
like, for example, you remember when our president went to America, sat there on the Oval Office there on the president's seat, and then Biden was standing right there. What do you think that was? The deal ilikuwa imeiva. The deal had been done. So they'll play with anyone. It does. That's why they've installed so many horrible leaders in this continent, especially. Not just here, like South America, everywhere. But like you look at all these coups and all those coups they are paid for by USAID and the CIA in general. But you can see, like the people they put for us are people who are corrupt enough to do what they want without even thinking. Just give them money, it's done. It doesn't matter what will happen to the citizens. It doesn't matter. That's why people, you have to be really careful about a lot of these decisions you made. Like when you decide to go and scream Hustler Nation and you vote for this guy, and we are telling you, Bana, he jamaa iko. Of all those people, he was at the very bottom, and somehow you guys raised him to the top. You didn't realize the kind of who is actually, which team is playing for. Right now, it's obvious to me that our president is an American drone. He's a pawn for the Americans. And that's why I think he's been allowed to do so many weird things around, but just doing just injuring the population in every single way. Economically, kila kitu, hospital, nothing works because who cares, man? The money is being sent.
It's a hugely powerful tool to lose. It's just twisted and evil, and it needs to. And we need to win. I don't want to say fair fights, but dipping into this sort of dark sorcery power has not only does it crush the First Amendment entirely, but the diplomatic blowback is just absolutely enormous. I can go through examples of that if you're interested.
Sure.